So our next presenters are Nauta and Krista Klompstra, and they are kind of with one of the leading platforms out there, which is Granular. And this is, they've spent a lot of years, a lot of hours developing this platform, and it's really a fantastic one. And I think you'll get some great value out of this. Nauta is from Regina, Saskatchewan. He's been with Corteva Agrisciences for 4 years. He's also had a foot in agriculture and the other in digital. Jay started his career working for working on the Ag Expert Analysis and Field Manager Pros platforms, which we got to hear from earlier or yesterday, before joining 7 Shifts. He was active in helping the startup 7 Shifts scale during a period of hyper growth. That sounds pretty exciting. Today, Jay works at Corteva field teams across Western Canada alongside growers in Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and I believe in West and Eastern Canada, as he finds his way over to Montreal shortly. Krista Klompstra is the digital business leader for Granular, based in Southern Ontario, where she works alongside her pioneer and retail colleagues. That's where that relationship and that education and that knowledge really pays off. Krista's career has spanned many industries in many areas, from a senior process engineering at DuPont to a marketing manager for Eastern Canada with Pioneer, and most recently as global program manager with Competitive Capabilities International, where she grew their digital process improvement platform with several companies. Please welcome Jay and Krista.
Thank you very much. Awesome. Okay, to get rolling here, Jay's going to share his screen for us, and I will kick us off. So thanks to everyone for joining. My colleague Jay and I are really excited to share our vision for the future of digital and agriculture, and then tools that we have that are available right now for growers to help run stronger businesses. And I would say most importantly, as we think about what we're talking about here, is how can we work together to strengthen the understanding and comfort level with digital? There's a lot of uncertainty and hesitancy. So really, how can we work together to move beyond that? Okay, Jay, if you can flip to the next. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the digital ag evolution, and I'm going to do it in the form of an analogy, which is kind of, I guess, the way my mind thinks. So remember back in the day, this is for those of us with lots of experience. Remember back in the day when we would be going on a trip to Florida for winter, for example, and we would visit CAA, and CAA would provide us with something that was called a triptych. So this, thick bit of paper that we would flip by. There'd be a highlighted route to get us from, wherever home was to the sunny south, and we would use it. So we would kind of flip each page as we made our way down south, which was, it was really great. We didn't know what we didn't know, but there was a lot of limitations to just the old map. What if we ran into traffic and we had to reroute? I don't know if anyone has any kind of scary experiences of being rerouted in all sorts of cities and then trying to find your way back. Where should we stop to eat? What else is missing? We just didn't know what we didn't know. And we also didn't have the benefit of what was happening with others around us as well. So we had just our own little map, and we were heading down I-75 to Florida. So digital really changed this. If we think about like Google Maps right now, I'm still very much able to customize my route, but Google Maps also knows me. It knows my preferences, no highways, no toll roads, and it customizes my experience to optimize my movements. But I also have the benefit of what's happening to others, what they've experienced in the past and what they're experiencing right now. So I'm given choices to reroute if I have to, if I come up on an accident, and I can easily get the top rated, busiest time restaurants, hotels, costing right from my Google Maps. And my personal favorite addition that's recently been added to Google Maps is where are the speed traps. So we know I'm now able to get that kind of intel. So I benefit as an individual by using this digital technology, but we also benefit collectively from sharing our experiences. So that's all really great for navigation, but what does this mean for agriculture? Water break there. Okay, so I wanted to share our Corteva digital mission with everyone to kind of make the connection here. So our digital mission is to be the best at providing software and analytics to help farmers run stronger businesses and steward the lands for generations to come, which is awesome. But okay, what does it mean? And when I read that, there's a couple things that really stand out to me. And the first one is help farmers. So how do we help farmers move down the digital path together? Some of us are already there and using technology and we're able to reap some of the benefits, but our research shows that 80% of Canadian growers don't use digital technology to gain efficiencies. So we're not using it. And why is that? Well, it's because it's confusing and we feel overwhelmed and sometimes alone and there's too many choices. What do I do with all these USB sticks that are kicking around in my drawer? So at Corteva, it's our mission to work closely with growers to move down the digital path together. How do we make it easier, simpler, and collaborative? So really cornerstone of where we're going with digital. And the other words that stand out for me are stronger businesses. So digital gives us an opportunity to learn more about our operations in a way we've never experienced. So taking an analytical data-first look at our farm can deliver more bottom line profit than even 5 bushels of yield increase. Not that we don't want to stop chasing yield, but we can, if we're using digital tools, we're really farming smarter, not harder. So there's a whole bunch of information that's of your data that's kind of sitting in your drawer. And how do we use that and harness it? So as we move down the digital path together, just imagine where it could take us as individual growers as well as an industry. So as we use digital tools to shape the data landscape, this data can be aggregated and insights unearthed. And then we can really see the power of digital ag. So the more we use the tools, the smarter they become and the more value they provide. So it's the digital's fundamental benefit. It's a self-renewing cycle of value, creating more value. So if we think back to the map or the navigation analogy, the engineers behind Google Maps set out to build an online mapping tool. But when users began to engage with it, they generated a plethora of new data and insights. It's unlikely that the developers intended to predict the busiest times of day or times to shop, but today we depend on it for that and so much more beyond simple navigation. So flip to the next one for me, Jay. Awesome. Okay, so at Corteva, we have many different digital tools to enable growers to run stronger businesses. We have granular agronomy, which is a way that we can build variable rate seeding scripts, fertility scripts. So, for growers that are interested in that path, we have granular agronomy. And then we have granular business. This is how we run an entire operation from task work assignments to inventory and marketing contract management, large software very suited for large operations. But today's focus is on granular insights, which has been designed to be a collaborative tool to help all growers make the best decisions throughout the year as we think of what's top of mind as we get through the growing season or through the year. We've got planning, growing, and analyzing. So my colleague, Nauta, is going to take us into a deeper dive into granular insights and kind of a little more detail about what that's all about.
Perfect, thank you.
So as Krista mentioned, in Granular Insights, we've got a tool that can help growers all season long. Right from the initial crop planning, that's probably on your mind right now, to in-season scouting and into post-season yield analysis. The best part is this is something that any grower or agronomist can download and start using today for free. So we're actually well down the digital path here at Corteva. And I always like to say that when you're buying from Corteva or buying from Pioneer, you're always getting more than just the seed in the bag or the crop protection product in the jug. Corteva offers a full solution, and digital tools are the secret sauce that helps bring it all together. Our reps and employees have excitedly picked up these digital tools and have invested the time in learning how to use them. Beyond seed or crop protection advice, digital tools are enabling them to provide an even higher level of service. Our reps and our tools are helping growers make more profitable decisions, right from crop planning to chop versus harvest decisions in the fall. We're helping growers see what works by analyzing simple charts to understand the connection between agronomy and economics. And we're helping growers make use of all the data that they do have, getting it off the planter and off the combine, so that they can start using it to aid in decision making. But where our Granular Insights tool really shines is in season. It's great to help you collaborate and to catch and correct issues faster than ever before that might be developing out in your fields. But I always like to start at the beginning, kind of right where we're at seasonally right now with planning. And when I do think about planning, I always think about the Mike Tyson quote that everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. So Granular Insights is great for two reasons in this regard. It's going to help you set your season up for success with effective and simple crop planning. It helps ensure you get the right product on the right acre at the right rate at the right time. And just think about how important it is to think through planning this winter. I don't want to beat the dead horse here and just keep talking about the supply chain, but hard not to be on your mind, especially with the road and rail issues in BC this week that leave the Port of Vancouver largely disconnected from the rest of Canada. So it's important to get your planning done as early as possible to ensure you're getting the products that you want, not the products that are left. And then, as important as that initial planning work is how you respond to the punches. There certainly has been a flurry of them with the extended drought, intense heat and wildfires and just extreme weather events in general. Insights is going to help you prioritize your scouting so you can respond to this. It's going to help you adjust to help you decide how and when it makes sense to deviate from that original plan. And to do this, we have an industry-leading directed scouting tool based on high-frequency satellite imagery. It's going to help you plan your in-season scouting to be more efficient and more effective. So you'll know which field to go to first, and then you'll know where in that field to go, giving you the chance to catch and correct potential yield-robbing issues earlier than ever possible before. And I've been working at Corteva for 4 years. Prior to that, I spent time working at Farm Credit Canada. I've had the opportunity to meet with hundreds of farmers, and I've pretty much seen everything as it relates to field planning. You've got your classic plans that just live in a dad's head somewhere. You've got paper and pen. You've got your 2-decade-old spreadsheet and obviously some really complex versions out there as well. With our field planning, Corteva actually offers this as a free tool as part of Granular Insights. This is to help you plan for the year ahead. You can plan numerous years ahead if you'd like, but this is something where you can create an Insights account right now. Start using this for free today. There's a QR code that you can scan in this presentation a couple slides from now, but I won't be offended if you just search for Granular Insights in the App Store while I'm just kind of talking through it here. But yeah, thinking about it in the fall planning here, you've got your normal rotational restrictions, but coming off the extreme drought, there are going to be those additional rotational restrictions with some of the carryover concerns. Just this becomes a lot to keep track of, and missing a small detail here can lead to costly errors. So field planning in a collaborative platform like Insights can reduce the chances of making an error. And it just makes it that much easier to benefit from the knowledge of the agronomists and reps that you work with to get the right product on the right acre. So once the season starts, you or anyone on farm or any of your advisors will be able to know the varieties on field, date planted. This information is obviously going to be key when reviewing satellite imagery to scout your fields in season. So this is an example from the fall. We'll talk about how Insights can help in planning at harvest time. So this year in southern Manitoba and much of Western Canada, many fields were planned and planted to be grain corn, but come harvest after that summer of extreme drought, tough decisions needed to be made on what to do with the crop. So our tools and the agronomists can help growers evaluate what kind of stand they have out in the field and whether they need to make decisions regarding chopping it or keeping it as grain. What you can see from the road can be really deceiving, especially when you're ripping by at 110 kilometers an hour. But even when a grower walks into a field and notices the crop doesn't look great right where they're standing, you're not really seeing many ears or much grain potential. You have to wonder, is what I'm seeing here typical of the entire field, or is it just portions of the field that are like this? There's obviously some time pressure during harvest, but we also need to correctly assess conditions to protect profits. Is it just the ridge areas that look this bad? So it's imperative for growers to walk through multiple areas of their fields to get an accurate idea of the condition. There can be a lot of variability within a field. Our tool is going to direct you to the areas of interest so you can confidently make the right decision for that field quickly. So see the example on screen here, highly variable field, but an agronomist was able to assess the conditions in high, medium, and low biomass areas able to drop a pin with what exactly they saw. This enables the grower and agronomist to collaborate on deciding what's going to be the best way to get the crop off the field. So satellite imagery of the field, especially when high resolution and high frequency, it's going to give you an overview of the entire field at a glance. It's going to help you answer the questions, are the conditions where I'm standing an anomaly, or is this about average for the field? And just because a portion of the field needs to be chopped, doesn't mean we can't harvest the rest. Not every field, not every acre needs to be treated exactly the same. Satellite imagery enables you to make informed decisions in a timely manner. And with grain prices the way they are, this can actually end up putting a lot of money back in your pocket. So we've talked a lot about how it works during planning, and I almost think of Granular Insights as almost like a Swiss Army knife. Many different ways it can be used, but in season is where it truly shines. It's a tool that can help you play offense by staying and getting ahead of potential issues, and it can help you play defense when problems do occur. So we're going to look at some ways our growers and agronomists are using the tool in the spring and summer months to make the right decision in protecting yield and profit. I also think of Mark Cutlet Seeds as a bit of a Swiss Army knife. They've been helping southeastern Manitoba grow since 1983, and they've been early adopters and really innovative in how they use the latest digital tools to support the success of their growers. So beyond the seed and inputs, they offer a wide range of professional services, from field scouting to trial management and agronomic recommendations. Our digital tools support and expand the services they offer. It helps ensure the time they spend with growers and in field is of the highest value and spent in the right places. So to do this, agronomists and growers like the Hutlets can use directed scouting, which is going to help you prioritize fields based on real-time in-season occurrences. This allows growers to pinpoint issues in fields where problems are potentially arising. We collect a ton of images throughout the season, up to one new image each day of the growing season for each of your fields. It would take a lot of time to manually go through that. So we've got algorithms that are searching for and alerting you to these anomalies. We can do this in 3 different ways. The first way is with our in-season change filter. This will compare images taken during the previous 2 weeks to provide insights into how your fields are changing. It then ranks the fields for those with the most change to the least change and groups them together based on crop type. One example where this is paid off is actually with late impacting cutworms, where large parts or even entire fields get wiped out. With the scouting filter, email alerts, and collaborating with agronomists and reps, growers are getting alerted to this pest sooner. This feature helps growers catch the issue in time to reseed, and maybe even just be more effective in reseeding just portions of the field that have been impacted. Next, we've got field variability. This is going to look for uniformity across fields. So like in-season change, each field gets a ranking high to low and is grouped together based on crop type. We'll look at an example of a pivot malfunction and how imagery could have helped actually catch this earlier, potentially fix it, and avoid that yield loss. And we also have scout priority. This is the final filter. This one actually takes the other 2 rankings, combines them into a single ranking to better help prioritize your scouting efforts by crop type. So imagery isn't just a cool tool or pretty pictures. It can really pay off. And I think of something like variable rate fungicide as potentially some of the lowest hanging fruit in precision agriculture. One of the simplest things you can do, Insights imagery enables you to do this in just a couple clicks and with very little time commitment or financial commitment. We'll use Sclerotinia as an example. It's found in the most dense canopy areas of a field or in heavier soils, basically in areas where expert moisture enables the disease to thrive. So knowing where the disease can thrive, why would we then apply fungicide across an entire field, especially in these drought years where there might be 15, 20, 30% of the field that is thin, spindly, and not able to produce back enough at harvest to cover the costs of this in-season application. So when we look at the example on screen here, there's definitely areas on this field where there would have been no return on investment of making that application. The way our satellite imagery and the filters work is by assessing relative density of biomass within the field. So essentially we can tell the difference in crop health across the field. At a glance, we get an understanding of where our strong yield potential is and isn't, so we can be efficient with our application. In this specific example, the healthy the healthy areas show up as that dark blue, and the low health areas are in yellow. The yellow, that's where we want to avoid applying in this specific example. We can review these maps on our computer, or even better, we can look at this on a phone or iPad or tablet device out in the field. And if we are checking from a mobile device, it's really easy to ground truth this. We can see exactly what we're seeing, compare what we're seeing through the imagery to what we're seeing on the ground. There's a GPS functionality that will follow you right to that specific point on the map. And it's obviously important to ground truth what the imagery is showing you. In this specific example, we'll try not to overcomplicate things. At this point, it doesn't really matter why the poor area is so barren. We know the disease is present in the dense areas of the field, and we know there isn't enough yield potential to spray the poor areas. So now we can quickly do this VR application using the most recent satellite image or any from the growing season. We do this just with a simple on-off application where the good, healthy areas of the field are going to get a full rate of fungicide, and the worst of the bad areas are going to get nothing. Really great place to start, something simple that you can do and really high impact. The practice of variable rate fungicide in canola is intended to reduce costs on farm, ensuring yield in the good areas and cutting costs in the poor areas of the field. Fairly easy to reduce fungicide usage by 15–25% on certain fields, which can result in savings of a few dollars an acre. And all of our Pioneer reps and Corteva employees have the tools and know-how to help you maximize yield and know what to expect come harvest time. So you're getting a lot more than just the seed in the bag. An incredible amount of expertise and technology supports it. As an example, when the folks at Hutlet Seeds scout a client's field, they're using granular insights to guide them to different areas. Imagery can, of course, help spot disease and pest pressure, but it also allows for more accurate yield predictions. Take the example of and notice the little blue follow me dot. On the left, you can see where we are we're in an area of high biomass, and you can see what the crop and the ear samples look like from that area of the field. On the right, we've got another example. We can see that they've moved about 50 meters to the north to that little patch of low biomass. And you can see how different the crop and the ear samples look compared to the higher health part of the field. So a grower or agronomist can make sure to sample from low, medium, and high health areas of the field to get a true sense of what's happening out there. For the collected samples, we even have the ability to estimate yield with our kernel counter that is built into our digital portfolio. While you're out in the field, a pin can actually be dropped that's geolocated. All of your notes, photos, yield estimates are going to be attached to that point. And importantly, it's all going to be just kept in that one app. So there's no need to check across emails, texts, WhatsApp group to try and figure out the last time you talked about that field. And by scouting in an informed fashion, growers are able to avoid any surprises from the combine, know what to expect all season long, and spend the time in the right places. So where I just kind of want to wrap this up is maybe where I should have started the conversation. In order to do any worthwhile planning, you need to have a solid sense of what has and hasn't worked in the past. Granular Insights is enabling growers to easily work with their data to understand the impacts of their decisions. We can drill in at the sub-field level to learn what happened in a small portion of the field, or we can compare variety performance across the entire farm, while also learning how planting date relates to yield and connecting the dots, across a lot of agronomic and economic components. This is an example from harvest in 2021. The grower was surprised by what he saw when the combine hit the field. From the road, it looked like a pretty average or maybe even slightly above average field throughout the year. Yield map obviously showing a different and not so happy story. But Insights actually gives us the ability to analyze the field data and compare it back to in-season imagery to get a sense of what actually occurred throughout the season. So starting left to right, we're looking at a field progress from month to month. This is imagery on the same field of that yield map from the previous slide. So going back into our historical imagery, we can see a ring of low biomass starting to increase day by day throughout the season. I just grabbed three representative images, but there'd basically be 5 or 6 a week. and it becomes really clear that this was a mechanical issue. We had a clogged pivot. So the damage has been done for the year, but we now know what to watch for in upcoming seasons. Our field variability ranking would have caught this easily in time to make that repair and correct the issue, but at least we were able to understand our yield results, have a true sense of what happened out there, and hopefully get ahead of this issue in future seasons. So with that, I didn't want to take a ton of your day here. Just wanted to give you some quick examples from the grow, analyze, and plan segments of our software here. Here's the QR code on screen that I referenced earlier. If you scan that with your phone, that'll help you get signed up for a Granular Insights account. You also have the ability to just search for it in the App Store. And then I've got my contact information on screen here. So feel free to reach out to me directly if you want to talk about this anymore, or feel free to talk to your local Pioneer rep or Corteva counterparts. But thanks again for the time this afternoon, and looking forward to answering some questions. Thanks again.
Oops. Thank you, Jay. Much appreciated. And Krista, great insights from your presentation, and certainly with the Corteva team and the Pioneer team, the expertise is second to none on helping the farmer and helping the grower make good decisions using your software. We do have a couple questions here, and I'm not sure if Krista answered that one, but we'll start with a question from Laura. How does Granular Insights differ from what the program that Agrian can offer? So what's the differentiating products there?
Yeah, I can take that if you want to. Okay, Jay?
I can get started on that.
Okay,
and
sure.
I guess the first thing that I would say, Laura, is I don't want to do an apples to oranges comparison without really knowing anything about your farm. Typically, the growers that I work with, regardless if they get into a granular business, agronomy, Agrian, most growers are only going to end up using a portion of the software anyways. So both of our tool sets on the granular side and on the Agrian side can do a heck of a lot. So it would just be a matter of sitting down together and figuring out what specifically are you trying to do, and we could help you determine if Granular is the best place for that, or if Agrian is maybe more what you're looking for. So feel free to shoot me a text or an email, and we can talk a little bit more specifically about your farm. I don't mean to give you the politician's answer here, but I'll flip it over to Krista, and maybe she can share a little bit more specific detail if she'd like.
Yeah, I'd say, there's many tools available to growers, and I think that's part of the confusion. Just at the heart of what we're doing with Granular Insights, or Granular in general, is just that collaboration, and let's work together. So it's not like a shoving software, say, yeah, there you go. It's really, how do we do this together? And whether it be just becoming familiar with digital tools, or also interpreting and making decisions together. So it's really, I think that's kind of a key differentiator as we look at like the busy space of digital tools, is that we want to support and work together, kind of as you saw in our mission.
That's excellent. Thank you both for answering that. So I can't even remember how long, but it's good. It's been quite a while when I first got to meet the team from Granular in the US when I was at a farm show. And I think Granular first came out, there was a perception that it was a corn product only, or a corn soybean product. So there's a question from Andrew, is Granular available in Canada for cereal crops and canola as well? And I think, Jay, you kind of indicated that, but I'll let you both answer that if you want.
Yeah, for sure. Like I've been with Corteva covering Western Canada for the past 4 years, and we've been out here actively selling software for those 4 years. It might be true that some features might launch, 6 months earlier for corn and soy before it gets adapted to canola and cereal crops for Western Canada. But as it relates to our digital portfolio, by no means is it just corn and soy. We've got some of the best growers in Western Canada using our tools today.
And then it looks like there's a follow-up question there, or two questions from Andrew. The other one is, how does granular agronomy differ from granular insights? And in my mind, this is kind of the way I think of it. Granular agronomy is a tool that we can use specifically for variable rate. If we want to generate variable rate scripts, based on soil sample, historic yield, imagery. So it's very, very focused on variable rate scripts, whether it's seeding, fertility, all those pieces. Granular insights, kind of like what Jay was sharing there, is a tool for really that everyone can benefit from the planning, from the growing, from the analysis portion. So agronomy very focused on writing variable rate scripts, and then granular insights, very much more broad tool that's available for all growers. And Jay shared the link to just download them. However, I will just say one word of warning: if you're Googling on your computer Granular Insights and you want to download, just type Granular Insights Canada, because often we end up in the US version, and we want the Canadian version.
That's important. We'll make sure that that people are aware of that one, because that can cause a little bit of confusion. So there's a question that we hear from everybody. Who owns the data? Is it aggregated, or how does that work?
You want to go first, Jay, or you want me to go?
Sure, I can take a stab at it. The data isn't aggregated. It's always going to be the grower that owns that data. In the end, I'm not sure how familiar folks on the call are with Ag Data Transparent, but Granular has been certified by Ag Data Transparent. Treat your data no differently than financial information. So Granular is sort of independent of the Corteva thing there. There's not data being shared with seed reps or anything like that. Grower has complete control over the data.
Is that good? Do you want to add anything to that, Krista, or are you just?
No, actually, no, I think that's good. We've got our privacy policy out, for those that want to see it or learn more, for sure.
Yeah, and I think, when we started this, how many years ago, 2014, 13, when we did our first Precision Ag conference, that was really a big concern. I don't want to give anyone my data. I don't trust them, and I don't know where it's going to go. But it's clear now that, everyone is safe with their data. And I think that's a message that I would like to say to everyone here is there's no company out here that's gonna jeopardize their relationship with you by giving away your data. So feel comfortable about that.
Just drop in the chat, Andrew and Ross, just a link to the actual policy if you wanted to read through any of the details yourself. It's not too painful of a read. It's broken down reasonably clearly.
Oh, that's great. Really appreciate it, Jay. That's perfect. Jay, in your presentation, you showed some of the data, the satellite data that you'd gathered. Do you have any examples or where you can show or you've gathered information where someone's reacted to that data versus things have been not managed properly, kind of a comparison on what kind of yield damage or profitability is really been affected by not taking these opportunities?
Yeah, for sure. And Krista, I might even tag you in on this one a little bit. It kind of touches back on maybe what we said earlier about corn and soy and things taking a couple extra months to get over to Western Canada. But one place that our tool has really started to separate itself from the competition is the way that we're marrying agronomic data to economic data. So we can actually visualize what we call profit maps or revenue maps or cost maps. So really doing a good job connecting dollars and cents back to machine data. Right now, today, that doesn't work for canola and wheat. But that functionality will be coming over fairly soon here. So given that Krista's covers Ontario and has a little bit more data analysis from the profit map side of things, I figured she might want to tackle that one if that's okay.
Yeah, here's just a small little example, but it was kind of an aha as I was sitting with one of our customers out here in Eastern Canada. We had yield maps for years and loaded into Insights, so we're able to see yield. And we could tell there was this one corner of the field that was always a problem. Whether no matter what we were growing there, it was just a problem given the nature of the soil, the curve, just a problem from planting to harvesting, and then also with yield. But when we plugged in and kind of simply and easily plugged in some costing and some revenue dollars into Insights, we then were able to see a profitability map across the the field, actually the whole operation. And we could see this pain in the butt corner was bright red for the past 5 years. And so why are we losing money and gaining more gray hair by trying to farm this particular corner? So just like a small example, but certainly able to kind of open our eyes as to what's possible. And then I'd say the other big aha is as we put in the cost of land. So that, when we're renting land, that definitely varies, region by region. We can see the impact of that on profitability and then actually push back on landowners. What do we want to do differently? Does this make sense to rent? So it's kind of like I like to think of the profitability piece as, we don't want yield at all costs, but what is the cost of that yield? And then how do we make better decisions when we've got that profitability picture?
Yeah, that was a great insight, Krista. Really appreciate it. And really, I hadn't really thought about the renting of land and the cost of land, and that makes a big difference. And I was talking to a farmer 2 years ago at a show, and he had the exact same story. He had been putting as much as he could into this one piece that he was renting, and just could not get yield out of it. And it wasn't until he started using these tools that you offer to realize he's just wasting time. He's wasting money. He's never going to get a payoff on it. So that's really important. That makes a big difference. Oh
yeah. So it lets us run our operation both with our heart and our head, right? Just that creating that bit of a balance. We don't want to run all with our head, but how do we create the balance to make the right decisions?
Yeah.
Sure.
And Andrew, I just quickly flashed this on screen while Krista was talking through, but this kind of visualizes a little bit of what she was talking about here, where we can quickly pull up a summary and get an idea of, how our soybeans did back in 2018. Let's get a sense of how they profited field by field. We can also come in here and start looking at, how did they yield, start clicking into this information and even start to visualize it on a map. So start to look at my yield map and even start doing a comparison over to our profitability, or even start comparing to the different varieties that were placed, that type of thing. So when we start talking about the kind of intersection of agronomic data and profitability and economics, that's sort of what we're talking about there. And again, I would encourage you, if you've got a few minutes today, to download an Insights account and hook up your data and start playing around with that stuff for free there.
Oh, that's great. Really appreciate it. I guess we're probably getting close to our time now. Is there anything else you guys wanted to touch on? I think it's important that people know that you're much more than just a software company. You are working with the growers, and you have the expertise of the Pioneer and Corteva team behind you as well. So, but is there anything else you wanted to share?
I guess one last piece I just wanted to offer is that we do have a really awesome Canadian support team that are located right here in Canada, both English and French speaking. And so kind of in that spirit of no one's doing this digital thing alone, right? We really want to help and support. So we've got, like we said, sales reps engaged and our sales team engaged, but then also folks that can help if we run into data in hiccups or whatever concerns we might have, we do have a really great local support team that are, focused on our Canadian growers and just helping us move down this digital path. Because the fact that 80% of us aren't using digital tools yet, and that comes from research, there's a big opportunity here to kind of let's move down the path together.
Yeah, I guess I probably should have asked this earlier, but you're saying 80% aren't. How do you get the grower to make that step? How do we say, hey, listen, it makes sense for you, and this is why, when they didn't typically, and when we've had this conversation with another presentation, when things are just being done on paper.
Yeah, and so other research that we've done has actually shown that growers will move down a path if it's presented by a trusted advisor. And so that leads us really naturally to the pioneer reps that we have across the countryside. So we're really working closely with that group, the rep group, to enable them to understand what it is, use it themselves, so that they're then have the firsthand knowledge to how this works and how it benefits them, to kind of share it broadly throughout Canada. So that exact point is how do we help growers is through how do we engage with our advisors.
That's great. Jay, any other last thoughts?
No, I think that was it from my end, but just want to thank you again for having us on here this afternoon. It's been a blast, and yeah, please do feel free to download a copy of the app and reach out to us anytime here.
Perfect. Well, again, thank you very much. Appreciate the presentation. It was insightful, and congratulations on all your success.
Thanks.